Like many, you are probably wondered why African wealth attract a lot of people from different corners of the world, and why, despite the huge amount of wealth in Africa, the continent still sits at the bottom of the global development index. There must be something we are missing here, isn't it? Take, for example, the Democratic Republic of Congo, a land that is huge with contradiction. According to estimate, Congo sits at approximately $24 trillion of wealth, making it the largest reserve of cobalt, with a huge amount of gold, diamond, and many other resources that is available in the land of Congo. To put that in proper perspective, consider all the countries in the European Union single market. Talking of countries like Germany, France, Italy, Portugal, Netherlands, and all of them put together at an estimate of between 19 and 20 trillion dollars. The wealth of Congo still supersedes that with at least up to $5 trillion. Now here's the paradox. The reality on the ground tells a different story. It's not much different from the situation in Nigeria, the largest oil producer in the continent. Despite the amount of wealth in Nigeria, a lot of Nigerian people, thousands of them, try to leave their country. For the sake of this argument, we are going to concentrate on Congo. And we're also going to overlook the obvious, which is the bad leadership and corruption, as some people will put it. Instead, we are looking into a system that have been there before then, so that the bad leadership and the corruption are only a manifestation of that. We are living inside a system of obedience consent, a trap designed in the late 1800s that have never been taken down. It started with a pen, a piece of paper, and a cold mission to exploit the African people and their resources for nothing more than profit. It started with King Leopold II. Now, King Leopold II was a king of the Belgians from 1865 to 1909. And despite the fact that there is nothing connecting the small European country to Africa, he is said to be the founder and sole owner of the Congo Free State from 1885 to 1908. So in this video, we're going to examine the letter he was said to have written to the Benja, the European missionary in Congo in the year 1883, and see what can be the correlation between what is happening in Congo, what have happened, and what is also going to happen in the future in connection to the intention in this letter. While some historians might debate the origin of the letter itself, the content of the letter corresponds exactly to what is happening in Congo today, or in Africa by extension. It serves as a master plan of great deception about what is happening today. Dear compatriot, the task that is given to fulfill is very delicate and requires much tact. You will go certainly to evangelize, but your evangelization must inspire above all Benja interest. Your principal objective is never to teach the niggers to know God. This they know already. Your essential role is to facilitate the task of administrators and industries, which means you will go to interpret the gospel in the way it will be the best to protect your interests in the parts of this world. Now, what this goes to show is that, contrary to what you might have been told, the European missionaries and their colonial government did not go to Africa in search of a lost people or try to bring people to God. They were there intentionally for their interest, to serve the need for their development, for their countries, for their people. So the idea that they were there to save the people or bring them to God was only a cover-up. Because if it was a question of bringing people to God, they wouldn't need to go there, because they themselves, including as revealed in the letter, knew that Africa had a deep connection to the divine. They used the name of God to set up a system that will continue to benefit the foreign extractor, the foreign company that continue to drain Congo to this present moment. About a year ago, I did an interview with a guest that I've already interviewed a number of occasions. He's originally from Congo. And I asked him a series of questions relating to this letter because, as you would have noticed, this letter is circulating on the internet, and a lot of people, including universities, have debated it, talking about the content, the origin, and everything about it. So I was asking Dr. Loya Loka, who is a guest in my podcast for a number of times, to respond because I wanted to know what other people, other scholars, other Africans think about it. And he said, when they came here, they tried to erase everything that was already in place. They replaced our deep knowledge, which was based on facts and logic, with a system of simple belief. It wasn't about saving the souls. It was about stealing the land. And if you pay attention to what Dr. Loya Loka is saying here, you might also have already heard what Desmond Tutu was saying of blessed memory, that when the missionary came, they told us to pray, close our eyes and pray. But while we were praying to God in the sky, they were taking the land. And of course, this happened all across Africa, not only in South Africa or in Congo or in Kenya. Everywhere, all across Africa, they use the Bible, they use religion to deceive the people so that as the people are praying to the miracle that is going to come from heaven, they take over the land. We have been deceived. This is why I referred to it before, that this is a great deception for the African people. So during another interview in 2005, a Congolese guest who joined me in London had added almost in a frustrated state, I think we need to go beyond the resources of Congo. The life of millions of people have been flushed into the toilet for commercial reasons. We need to grow up. And of course, Ame was responding to the peace deal that was brokered between the United States government, the person of Trump and the administration, and between Rwanda and Congo to bring peace. But they are talking about peace. Everybody should be happy about it. They are talking about bringing an end to the conflict. As if maybe the conflict itself have happened from nowhere, as if it suddenly happened, no? As if they were not aware of it for over 60 years, hundreds of years. The people of Congo have been tortured, mutilated, and this Western government were not aware of it. So they be doing everything they can. The United Nations even set up offices there. They have their contingent there to be able to put an end to the conflict. But somehow there are some invisible forces in Congo that is bigger than the United Nations forces. Therefore, they are unable to bring peace to the people. So now Trump just said, I'm going to resolve the problem. So everybody in Congo should be rejoicing. But that is not the case. Like many other Congolese, he has seen that moving a number of times before without any real solution. So the question is not only that it is impossible for Western government to find a solution to the situation in Congo. That is far from it. They're able to do that if they want to. But now you must understand that there is need for this crisis. It's more like an economic product, because the crisis is needed for the exploitation of Congo resources, of the over $24 trillion worth of resources in Congo. And like King Leopold's letter indicated, the essential role is to facilitate the task of administrators and industry. The role remains the same today and probably tomorrow for any Western intervention in Congo, now quite generally in Africa. Now, in case you are still wondering about the tricky nature of the European colonialists and their imperial agenda, you might need to consider what Chinua Achebe was saying in his book, Things Fall Apart. The white man is very clever. He came quietly and peaceably with his religion. We were amused at his foolishness and allowed him to stay. Now he has won our brothers, and our clan can no longer act like one. He has put a knife on the thing that held us together, and we have fallen apart. So if you read the line, you see that what Dr. Chinua Achebe is saying and what Desmond Tutu has said and what many people have observed, because you need to really sit and observe the situation, is there have been a great deception. The people of Africa have been deceived. So Dr. Chinua Achebe, of course, was absolutely right about the unholy matrimony between Europe and Africa. And that matrimony have remained extremely costly to the African people. But there is even more to that, considering the 1883 letter from King Leopold II. This is what I call the poverty trap. The letter revealed a chilling plan using faith to encourage poverty. Find parts of the book that tells your follower to love be poor, like happy are the poor because they will go to heaven. Make sure they never become rich. Again, I want you to refer back to what Desmond Tutu was saying, because the whole logic of the prayer is that you need to close your eyes. Of course, sometimes closing your eyes might be actually good if you are making a deeper reflection. And it also will make sense too if the European missionary didn't work in collaboration with their criminal government to steal African land, then all of it will make sense. But what we are saying now is that why the Africa close their eyes, not only closing their eyes, I want you to look at the picture very well. They close their eyes and they also raise their hands. You see, the hands are tools. You need to use the hand to be able to create things, and you need the eyes for you to be able to see what you are creating. But now, you close your eyes and you raise your hands. But guess what? The person who is intervening in your life didn't close their eyes. They have understood what they wanted to do. So they are basically exploiting you, because while you close your eyes and raise your hands, you are submitting everything to them. But you think that you are submitting it to God. But the point is that they were not supposed to be between you and God. God was supposed to be something that you were supposed to connect to directly, not through people who actually do not look like you, who actually do not have your intention at heart. But they managed to convince you that close your eyes and raise your hands. But by the time you open your eyes and you lower your hands, your land is taken over. It was by accident. No, it was not by accident. They already planned for it. So that is what I'm helping you to understand in this letter, that before they get to Congo, they already made their plan of what they wanted to do. So if what they are doing is corresponding to what they want, there is nothing accident here. And if the American intervention in Congo is in line with that letter, this shouldn't be a coincidence. These have been planned all along. It will be part of the same project, part of the same great deception in Africa. The European missionaries working for their colonial government knew that they were into the business of manipulating the people, so that where they stop, actually, is where the Western pseudoscientists, psychologists, and sociologists basically step into the business of formatting the African mindset and installing a new worldview through their well-calculated miseducation. Now, this is important because you need to understand that whoever you allow to educate you can also miseducate you, because you are giving the person the possibility now to format your head, because you need to look at the brain like a computer. When you buy a new computer, everything is in it. The computer is only potential in that everything you put into it will be the operating tool system in the computer. The computer is powerful the way it is. Whoever you allow to format your head is able to plant in your head whatever he or she wants. That is what education does. Is that when we are children, we continue to learn A, B, C, D. We continue to learn about color, blue, green, white, yellow. We continue to learn about form, geometry. We didn't know all these things before. We were taught what they are. At that time, we are very receptive to any information that we receive, because everything is new and everything is actually quite confusing to us. But sometimes we are beaten to accept them, or we are confused to accept them, or we are made to accept the thing the way they are, so they become the way they are for us. If you are a good person, you are able to plant a good image, you are able to give the person a good tool to be able to navigate their world. But what if you are a bad person? You are able to do the same thing, because at that moment that we are young in our life, that we are receiving information, anything that comes to us, we don't have a way of filtering it out to say, oh, this is good, this is bad. It just comes. We just take it, swallow everything, and those things that we swallow continue to condition us. Of course, I'm using the image of a child here. It doesn't mean that it functions only for children. It functions also for adults too. You see, adults can also be taught things, which is why education is very powerful. It can be used to build a people. It can also be used to miseducate the people in the sense that it can also be used to destroy a people. All I'm telling you here that it is very important that we pay attention to this miseducation that is happening here in Africa, that it is not really by accident. It has been planned. It has been designed to be the way it really is. It is no accident at all. It is no accident at all. So from time to time now, we see a group of IMS and World Bank men in suit loading their suitcases and heading to Africa to announce their latest development program. They are doing this because they think they understand what Africa needs through their simulation and hypotheses in Washington, London, and Paris. They are actually reciting the same old script we have read before, the Leopold 1883 letter, and the blueprint of what the Euro-Western leader actually named in Africa. Now, over a month ago, I did an interesting interview with a UK-based Congolese and a financial investigator, Noelle Mapiada. What she shared in the interview was not only fascinating as we learn about billions and billions of dollars leaving Africa through foreign companies, and in most of the cases are operating incognito and therefore untraceable through the regular financial transactions. In the interview, Noelle talked about what they see from the allotment of it in the investigation, that a shipment will leave Congo but will be recorded as leaving South Africa, only to state that it originated from Congo. So who is behind this huge international illegal trade? And why is it allowed to go on for years? So, of course, you can hear Noelle asking the question, a kind of rhetoric question for most of us, because sometimes it's kind of frustrating, allowing this international theft to go on for years and years in Africa, and nobody is doing anything about it. Why is it allowed? Why is it going on like this? It's kind of frustrating, you know. It's frustrating to see that the resources and people that are land in Africa is exploited to meet the need of other people, while in Africa we just allow people to die, to perish. And nobody cares about what happened to millions and millions of people just suffering. And somebody is happy about it in Washington, in Berlin, in France, in Germany. They just enjoy our suffering. They just like to enjoy the suffering that is going on in the continent. So going back to Noelle's interview, Noelle added that whatever is coming out of us is expensive. Whatever we are taking back is cheap and consumable. The fish in my city, she said, becomes old because no one fishes it out. Yet we import fish from abroad. The system is broken at every level, Noelle added. So listening to Noelle for over 40 minutes, I could feel her frustration. I mean, it's truly frustrating to see what is happening to us, to our people, to our land, to our resources, to the so-called underdevelopment. It is really, really frustrating. If you think about what is happening in Africa, it is difficult not to feel hurt inside your stomach. That this is the way it is. The African resources are used to fuel economies that are far away from the African cities and land, while our brothers and sisters, our father, our mother, our uncle are just suffering. They are suffering the means of abundance to satisfy the need of other people, but in the collaboration of local Africans. Yeah. So this we cannot ignore, but of course we'll take time to talk about this later on. In the Niger Delta of Nigeria, for example, oil bunkering is framed as if it were an affair of a few hungry village young men. But no one is explaining that the logistics needed to pull out such operations is such that it is impossible without the Nigerian government support. I mean, without the Nigerian government directly collaborating for the oil bunkering and theft in Nigeria, it will be impossible, because we are not talking about loading oil into maybe 1 gallon and shipping it to the United States or to UK or to China or to Hong Kong. We are talking about loading a ship. You know what is a ship is? A ship that is loaded with oil. It's very huge. Nigeria also have border patrol, they have the Air Force, they have the Army, they have the Navy. So for you to fly or take a ship into another country, you need to have a permit. The local village boys in the Niger Delta do not have that logistics to be able to operate at international level without the people within the Nigerian authority, the Nigerian government, knowing what is happening. So I was saying to Noelle in the interview that either the Nigerian government is directly involved in this stealing or they pretend not to be aware of that. But there is no way they cannot know what is happening. They know what is happening. Otherwise, how do you explain? How do you load a huge ship in the water? How do you navigate the international waters? How do you get paid? And how do you repeat the cycle? So there is more to the story than they often report. Of course, you understand that there are many anti-fraud agencies in the West who would have been able to take action. But since the receiving end is usually their government, their banks, you imagine how much Abacha looted, trillions of naira at the time, and it went to hide in some countries in overseas. Because that currency, by the time it gets to maybe Switzerland or go to London or go to the United States, that money becomes usable, no? It becomes valuable to this country that want to build infrastructure. Trillions and trillions of dollars stolen in Africa. It doesn't mean that when that money gets stolen and kept in a bank in the United States or kept in a bank in France, that the French government would just say, okay, yeah, that money is a stolen money. We're not going to do anything with that. But that is not how it works. They use the money to build their infrastructure. So it makes sense now if Western anti-fraud agency do not help to recover that money, do not help to fight the fraud, the international thievery that is going on in Africa, because it is helping their economy. It is helping their country to grow. So it is on us that we are just, unfortunately, having people who do not care about us. If you care about your people, why are you doing this? Why are you stealing the food that your people need to survive by? They are dying. You are taking it to the United States, taking it to Switzerland, taking it to France. French don't need your money. Your people need your money. United States don't need your money. Congolese people need your money. Steal the money if you want to steal, but go hide it in Ghana. Let the Ghanaian economy boom, so that when Congolese need money, they can go there to take. Don't take it to Switzerland or to Germany or to France or to Italy. Don't hide your money overseas. That is what we are talking about. If you are a thief eat it from one village, keep it in the next village, so that by the time the people in your village are suffering, they can easily go to the next village. But if you hide it in France, you cannot go to France to get the money back. In fact, they will even kill you and say you lost your mind, and that money will never come back. By the way, like I said before, we are coming to the responsibility of the African people just now. But let's go on with the conversation. Of course, many European governments will not really tell you that they are benefiting anything from Africa. That is the truth. They like the idea that Africa is a poor continent. The people there are suffering because they are not able to develop themselves and all those trash. It is trash because Europe is actually being subsidized by Africa. You see, I just share with you the raw data that just from Congo alone, Congo is one of the 54 countries in Africa. Congo is just one country. It's not even a region in Africa. There are different regions in Africa. Just one country alone is already richer than the whole of the European Union, the Schengen country put together in terms of their GDP. But the people in Congo are living on less than $2 a day. Whereas the people there, where they are taking the money to, those ones are enjoying it. They are enjoying your labor. So many of these countries, whether in Germany, talk to a regular French politician, talk to a regular UK politician or a German politician or Italian politician. I interview most of them a lot. None of them will ever tell you that they are getting something from Africa. They are always happy. They are developing programs all the time. They are coming up with initiatives to help Africa. You see, that is the narrative. That is a narrative. For over 400 years, Europe is just helping Africa. They are there helping you, to help you in the military, to help you for your defense, to help you to produce agricultural products, to help you to sell. They help you everywhere. They never get anything back. They are good people. They have good mind. Oh, poor Africa. Oh, poor Africa. We are coming to help you. Let's help you. That is a narrative, but it's a lie. It's part of the great deception. They are deceiving the people. What Europe should have done is that we need this. You need this from me, I need that from you. Let's negotiate. I will give you this, you will give me that. But they don't know how to do that. A typical Western mentality does not get into the mindset of let's negotiate. They simply take it. And for you to take it, of course, you need to create a lot of story. This is what we are talking about. But of course, I think it was a couple of years ago, French President Jacques Chirac, who famously said that without Africa, France would be a third world economy. Now, think about that for a moment. It means Africa, with her trillions of dollars, is the one subsidizing European economy, not the other way around. It also confirmed that the 19th century scramble for Africa was never about a civilizing mission. It was a high-stake theft to fuel their own industrial revolution. They didn't come because we lacked the knowledge. They came because we had the gold, the diamond, the rubber, and the oil they needed to secure their own economic superiority. You see, France holds one of the highest gold reserves in the world. But you ask yourself a simple question. Is it in Paris that they have this gold mine? Is it in Lyon? Where in France do they have this gold that they are mining that is making France one of the highest gold reserve country in the world? Okay, let's put it another way. Let's say France bought this gold. From where did France bought this gold? Did they buy it from Ghana? Did they buy it from Congo? Can they offer a receipt to show that they have bought this gold? So these international thieves make many European countries to be rich because they stole from other people. They stole from other people and they've been stealing for over 400 years. Because they cannot tender a receipt. They have no way. The International Monetary Fund, if we were to do an investigation into the French government and ask, hey, demonstrate how this gold got to you. Because they have no legal document to show that they actually obtained this gold legally. The only way that they can obtain that gold is either through stealing from other people, through war. So we understand this. So this is what we are talking about today, that Africa is subsidizing European government. That is how they got money. Otherwise, where are you going to get the petroleum for your car? Where are you going to get the gold? Where are you going to get the tools to be able to build your infrastructure? This is what we are talking about, that Europe is not subsidizing Africa. It is Africa that is subsidizing Europe. What is wrong with Africans is also wrong with the European too. What I mean by that is that for hundreds of years, many European countries such as France and the United Kingdom have been stealing resources from Africa. Until date, they are unable to manage the stolen loot and say enough. Instead, they are always coming for more. They are always coming for more. By this time, 2026, French government should have said, okay, we have gotten enough. Let's manage the one that we have stolen now. But instead, no. The Sahel region are saying, we are no longer interested. Let's divorce this marriage. This unholy matrimony that have been going on for years, where French need to manufacture the currency and then send to Ivory Coast, to Gabon, send to Cameroon, send to Niger, send to Burkina Faso, where they have to formulate what is the educational system, write the book that we need to use to teach African people about history. But how can a competitor teach you the strategy to survive in a market where we are both competing? And we teach you how to overcome me. It doesn't work. There is no way it will ever work that a French Ministry of Education is the one designing educational curriculum for African government. It doesn't work. This is part of what we call the Great Deception. By the time they manage through colonialism, they manage through education, they manage through this aid program, their way of deceiving people, then it appeared normal to you that these beautiful, fine little girls and boys speaking nice English in London and in Paris are telling you, oh, we are here to help you. No, we are here to deceive you. That is what they are saying. We are here to provide for you. No. We are here to take what you have. Then you hear the American government say, okay, we are here to help Nigeria. No, let's say Nigeria, we are coming to reap the reward because this terrorism business is booming. Let's reap the reward because that is what it is. That is what it is. Nobody is going to help another person. That is the truth. They use the 1883 blueprint to make you feel like a charity case in the morning, while they spend the afternoon fueled by the very resources they took from your backyard. They are not helping us grow. They are strongly to keep us from realizing that we are the one keeping their economies alive. Okay, I said before that we will talk about the local responsibility, and I think this is fundamentally important. This is a line that I've heard for a very long time. Even though you might hear me very emotional talking about the European deception in Africa, because that is what it is, I don't spend all my energy on that because that is not going to help me. It's not going to help my cause. Instead, what I think can help me or can help what I believe in is when we focus more on our responsibility as a people, as Africans, because we are the only one that can change the situation. Nobody else is coming, because even in the next 100 years, Europeans are comfortable with the situation that they have created. That is not going to change. There is no agenda in the European Union to change that because they are happy about it. Why would you change something if it is beneficial to you? This is a competitive market. So your competitor can never work for you. They work for themselves. If you are stupid enough to think that they are working for you, well, sorry, you are in luck. You are in luck. So in this session of the conversation, I wanted to take some time to look at what I call the enemy within, which is the people in Africa that are working against the African people, and also the responsibility, our responsibility, how we should be able to change the situation, because it depends on us. Whether we die defending ourselves or we manage to drive away the enemy from our land, it depends on us. Nobody is coming. No heaven is going to come. No Jesus is going to come from the sky. No Muhammad is going to come from the Saudi Arabia to help African people. Africa, you will help yourself or you will perish. No other solution is available. So yes, it is true that the plan may have been written in Europe, may have been designed by many European political leaders, including King Leopold II in 1883. The people that actually make this plan work are fellow Africans living in Africa and also in the diaspora. They are the ones that are spied on their people, revealing the information, planning, designing this continuation of the status quo. So we cannot ignore that. Without the enemy within, the enemy from outside, we do you no harm. That is the truth. So this is what I want us to focus on briefly in this conversation. Now, in 2010, I published a book that I titled "Under Development in Africa, My Hands Are Clean." The thesis of that book was actually very simple, and it was that as Africans, we have no moral right to blame the European for their exploitation of our continent, but we are ready to take our own responsibility. Why so, you might ask? Well, think about it. For over 400 years, countries such as France, Germany, and the United Kingdom have been stealing resources in Africa and are creating superficial story to justify their theft. And they have no plan. Believe me, they have no plan to stop even in the next 400 years. So what does that mean? It means that we cannot even control the action of this European country who have built their economic model entirely dependent on their colonial heritage. Therefore, we must control ourselves. That is the only one we can control. And we must try to understand where have we gone wrong. It is by doing that that we're able to figure out a way to fix our problem. This is our problem. We must look for a way to fix our problems. But what happened instead? We have local politicians and business leaders who are even worse than the European exploiters. Ignoring their common African brotherhood, they loot public funds, deny their people the right to common life. So that the basic thing that was supposed to be available in Africa is not in existence. And it doesn't even cost a lot of money. All the money that is raised is sent abroad by people who do not even live abroad. People are kidnapped every day in Nigeria. And we have a government. They say that you are monkeys. You behave like monkeys. And you say, well, I am not mocking. No, we are saying that your behavior say that you are an animal. And you say, we are not animal, but you behave like animal. The point is that People don't need to believe what you say. They need to believe what you do. In terms of the behavior of an average African leader, we are lower grade of human being based on our behavior, not based on what we read, not based on what we write, based on what we say, but based on what we do. So if we rate it based on what we do, it is difficult for any person to regard African person as a real human being because the behavior is different from what you say. Of course, I'm saying all of that to mean that the cage of obedient consent is kept alive by our behavior, in that we are the ones that are keeping our people in this perpetual torment. We have refused to set them free. And this is the work that is done by mostly the educated African. Something is wrong here. There is something wrong here. If you are a so-called big man, we don't need you to say it. We just need you to live it. How you live it is that all around you, there is light. Because you are a reflection of who you are. Let your billions speak for you by your action. Because that's the thing that is wrong with the big man so-called. It's wrong with the leader. The leader say, I am the president. But who cares? Nobody cares whether you are the president or not. Let me see it in the people you are presiding over. What do they say about your being a president? I am a governor, I'm a minister. No, those are titles. What we really need is, how does that title translate to the life of the people around you? If you are a minister and you have a very beautiful house, but the road that leads to your house is full of potholes, it means you are a minister of potholes. If you are a president and all your citizens are being kidnapped every day, it means you are the president of the people that are being kidnapped. You are the president of kidnappers and big people that are kidnapped. If you are the minister of agriculture and in your country, you are importing food to feed your people, it means you are a minister of agriculture that import food. It means you are a failure. That is what it means. So it is not about your title. It's not about what you say. It's not about the PDF that you have created. It's about how does it reflect in the life of the people around you. That is the responsibility we are talking about. You are going to judge yourself by your action, not by the beautiful English that you are able to speak. It is not about the big grammars. It's about how does your office change the life of the people around you. Because if you do, you don't need to campaign. You see, currently in Nigeria, okay, I know we are talking about Congo, but that of Nigeria is abhorring sometimes that we need to also speak of. You see, the current administration in Nigeria of APC, led by the president of the country, Bola, they are spending a lot of money employing influencers in Nigeria to campaign for them in 2027. But this is the question. You have been the president of this country all this while. Why do you need people to tell the Nigerian people that you are a good person? It's because you haven't been a good person. Because if you are a good person, the people will know. You don't need to convince somebody, hey, see me, just show up. That's all you need to do. If you want people to know who you are, just be who you are. You don't need to beg somebody to remake your image for people to know that you are here. You are here, people will see you. Let your action speak louder than voice. Some people will say, your action is speaking louder than your voice. I can't even hear what you're saying. So there is a huge responsibility on our part. Even though there might be people in Washington or in Paris or in London that are interested in our instability, we must understand that will never work until we collaborate with them. Therefore, we cannot blame them without blaming us. That is what I'm saying in this section of the argument. We cannot blame the European for their exploitation without taking responsibility for our part. Except we see European army in Lagos that are doing all the killing, now we can blame them. Other than that, we are fully responsible for what is happening to us. So whether in Congo or in any other part of Africa, the cage of obedience have been kept standing by a local group of leaders and business owners who step into the role. So now, in the wake of the recent uprising with M23 in Congo, I remember I interviewed a number of people, of course. Then there was this particular interview I did with Mr. Suleiman Konde, who joined the conversation from the US. A great part of the conversation was actually focused on the responsibility of the local people, both in sustaining the conflict and in triggering it from time to time. According to Suleiman during the interview, the two worst things that people should not be together are both arrogant and incompetence. Then he added, if you're being corrupted by West all the time, it shows that you are incompetent. In Congo, we hear the accusation all the time of it is Rwanda is intervening in our country. This is usually will be said by the Congolese. It is the fault of the Rwanda because Rwanda are causing the conflict in Congo. That is why there is people dying. Oh, I say, okay, yes, you make a good point there. But what is the Congolese government doing to make sure that they do not collaborate with the Rwandans again, so that they finish this year, but before they come back next year, we would have reinforced our defense. Now, we take it away from Congo and look at the whole of Africa in this sense. Africans, we are very good at saying the West, the West, the West, the West. But what about us? Who is revealing this information to the West? Who is letting them know what is happening within our family so that they know how to strike you where it hurts? Now, assuming we are even right that all the responsibility is lie elsewhere because of their interests. Now, I want to say that it's still on the local people in Congo to want peace more than the outside want conflict in their land. It also should be evident that there is no way Congo can progress and able to leverage their own rich resources for their good without putting an end to the conflict. I might be wrong on that, but I would say that as an African, we're not necessarily interested in who is wrong or right in the situation in Congo. We are just looking for the leader among the people who is able to stop the killing and move the country forward. That is what we are looking for. Don't come around and tell me the other is wrong, you are right. We are not interested in that because that does not help the person who is being killed in Goma today, the person who is being killed in Kinshasa or in any other part of Congo. That doesn't stop that. What stops that is the people who are able to come around and negotiate among themselves. Yeah, there are some enemies in the country, I understand. There are some traitors in the country, I understand. There are some people whose family have been killed, I understand. But where are these Congolese people who are able to make consensus and say, okay, a lot of people have died. We have seen too much death now. From this moment on, the only interest that we want to pursue is peace in our country. End to the conflict, whatever it takes. Any foreign country that we want to work with must be the one that helps us to promote this agenda. The agenda of putting the Congolese people first. Every other thing is secondary. Don't tell me you are right. The only thing that is right in Congo is the end of the conflict so that we can use these resources for the good of our people. How about that? Now, otherwise, look at the mining situation. How do African raw materials make their way to, say, in China and international market? What about the oil bunkers in Nigeria? Okay, I know we have made mention of that before. How do the outsider manage to get inside information about what is available on the local situation? How do they manage to understand what is happening in our land, our culture? They know how to kick us against one another. So how do they manage to understand what is available under our ground? It means that there are traitors in the house. Our people are selling out their people. Those are the traitors in the land. They are the ones responsible because they need more money, more dollars. Because of more dollars, they will sell their people outside. And everybody come around and say, oh, the Chinese are here to exploit. Oh, the Europeans are here to exploit. But nobody is looking around to see, oh, it is my brother, because they sell us out. They sell out in the house. Those sellouts are the one responsible. They are the one making it possible for the continent to remain where it is today. It is not because a European army invade Nigeria. It's because there are people in Nigeria that are selling out the country. It is not because the Belgians today are invading Congo. It's because there are Congolese people that are selling out their people. That is where we need to focus on. That is where we can make the difference, because they are among us. The thieves are among us. The stealing is happening in our community. If we stop this enemy within, then the enemy outside will no longer be able to overtake us. They will no longer be able to harm us, because now we have a home. Currently, we don't have a home like Children Achebe said, it is fall apart. We are falling apart. But let's look for a way to come together again. If we come together, then we can fight against anything. That is the only thing that is right now. That is the only thing that is right at this moment. But there is another thing that is also important for consideration. When we talk about education, talk about what is wrong with us, talk about the 1883 letter by King Leopold, it's important to look at education. Have you ever wondered why so much attention is on African children, including by those who might not generally like African people? I don't know if you are paying attention to that, whether you are talking of adoption, people that are just basically interested in your children. Why are they so much interested in your children? How come they are interested in our children this much? Look around in the neo-Western aid programs in Africa, the churches, both past and present, catch them young. Catch them young. Why are they interested in catching your children young? Of course, it's true that from one end, it might appear all good and innocent. They want to help the people. They want to help the people. That is how it might appear. Because they are interested in helping you, helping your children, helping the women, the vulnerable, because they are not responsible for the crisis. Therefore, they want to help you, right? But that is connected to the blueprint. I want you to stay with me for a moment to help you understand that it's all part of the program. Now, imagine you were born in the Niger Delta of Nigeria, and you went to the Nigeria Colonial School, where you were made to recite A for apple, B for boy. And you were told that as a proof of your intelligence in the Nigerian current affair, you need to recite that the River Niger that has sustained your ancestor for thousands of years was actually discovered by Mungo Park in the 1700s. Now, you need to recite that line. Otherwise, you will fail in the exam. And by reciting that line over and over again, it will soon become the truth that you and your people were actually discovered by the European explorer. And the fact that your ancestors have been here for thousands of years will become the lie. Think about that for a moment. If you want to pass, you need to lie that you are nobody in the colonial education. And because you accept that lie, after a while, it becomes your truth. And what was true becomes the lie. Take a moment to reflect on that. That is the work of European miseducation of Africa through colonialism and the missionary experiment. But guess what? They were conscious of the game. They have been conscious of the game from the beginning. Now, back to the letter of King Leopold II. The children have to learn to obey what the missionary recommend, who is the father of their soul. You must singularly insist on their total submission and obedience. Avoid developing the spirit in the school. Teach students to read and not to reason. But what does this mean? Well, it creates a type of education where the goal is obedient consent, not growth or critical thinking. The consequence of this is that it moves us away from the high knowledge of our ancestors who understood the star and built great pyramid, to no longer knowing anything about our environment, our home, where we are coming from, what we know how to do before this moment. Everything is erased. We must accept the lie as a truth so that our truth becomes the lie and the lie becomes the truth. So pay attention to that so that we become ignorant of anything about our environment, medicine, agricultural practices, and the thousands of years of navigating our terrain, climatic condition, and topographic information. All those things I just listed are actually what help our ancestors to survive. It talks about their farming. It talks about how do they protect themselves against disease? What kind of medicine do they need to use? But now we are educated. We finished the Western education in Africa because the reason we are confused is because we are not Westerners. We are Africans. Except we were taken away from Africa, from Congo, and taken to Belgium. If we are given that education and we live among the Belgians, then it makes sense. But if we want to educate people in Africa to solve African problems, that education is actually called miseducation. But guess what? They know that. They understand that they were miseducating the people. Because they are telling you that they will come to help you. But how can you come to help me? You don't even know what I want. How can you do that? You see, our ancestors were able to survive thousands of years because of their deep knowledge of themselves and their environment where they live, how they interact with the people, the animals, the land, the wind, everything, how they plant and harvest, how they conserve, how they treat themselves in terms of disease. They know this. They didn't need any person to come from Europe to teach them. Remember that for thousands of years, we have been navigating this land. People have been moving from north to south to west to east of the continent. They have done this without looking at the hypothesis coming from London and Paris, because Paris and London didn't exist. How come they were able to survive and now we can't survive anymore? How come they know this? How to look at the star, how to discover what is happening in the universe? But now we can't even know what is happening in our land. How come we are now confused? How come that our ancestors that gave birth to us are evil? We are supposed to be good. Can't you see that it's a misalignment here? Can't you see that this calculated miseducation is not by accident? It's part of the plan. So today, nearly all the countries of Africa with Western education, we go to school and we lose ourselves in the imported pedagogies, which were never designed to solve our problem. Dr. Lua Luka, that I was referring to before, had a response to that. Our ancestors taught us that the souls are free. Instead, the Western socio-political spirituality ended up trapping our mind in a small world, making us forget that we were the original builders of civilizations. That is what they did. They wanted to confuse us. Of course, they do all the time. They want to make us understand that we are nobody. We just came out here, and they can't even explain. They can't explain how we came into existence because this is beyond their knowledge. And they cannot accept that something is beyond their knowledge, so they must fabricate things. So they help us to get lost through miseducation. And remember what I was saying before, that whoever you allow to configure your head, because education, meaning configuring your head, your brain, can also confuse you, can also miseducate you. And when you are miseducated, because it basically now that is a virus. When you have a virus in a computer program, the virus basically take over the computer and run it according to how it wants. That is the problem. There is a virus now in Africa, and the people that install the virus are making us operate according to how they want it. That is the consequence of it. That we allow other people to educate us. So they educate us according to how they want. And of course, it's obvious that sometimes there are things that they are not able to figure out. They just ignore that. And they move on. So that we live at a very simplistic level. Whereas we're supposed to be deep. We were supposed to be deep because the ancestors told us that we were supposed to be deep and free. But you can't be free in a European controlled world. You must be controlled, put under their system, well surveyed. And to make sure no one rebel, they use spiritual spying by setting up confessions to find out who was challenging the authority. They destroyed trust between neighbors. This is why many people today think that their own culture is evil, while the outsiders is holy. If you can make a man fear his own brother, You never have to worry about them starting up together. But do not lose hope. The Congo is not completely broken. It's only occupied by old idea. Now, how do you wake up? Well, we need to know that this system that rules over us is a fraud, and it requires us to check the story we have been told and to build a new story that truly reflects who we are. So stop believing that you are small. Stop believing that your life is all about this created, this cooked story that is coming from Europe, that you are limited, that you are just this. You are not just this, you are all of this. All of this is who you are. So take it. So in the words of Louis Luca, it's time to wake up and destroy the rules that were set out to keep us down. And that same hope is shared by Noeli Mapiada, who added that the diaspora is waking up. The young people will definitely change things. And don't be dismayed, she said. Now, this is the biggest takeaway. The great deception that was created, and we are all in it like matrix, is working because we are following it. So there is a choice. Whatever you choose, there is a price to pay. You can continue like this forever, hoping that somebody is coming to help you, or you can take the bull by the horn, set yourself free from this bondage,